If we look at updates 6.3 through 6.7 in isolation, they may seem disconnected, or even contradictory, to some, especially in terms of character choices and roles. However, when viewed as a single continuous sequence, it becomes clear that what is happening is not random at all, but rather a carefully calculated path built on a simple principle: never present the climax before laying the foundation. The starting point with version 6.3 does not aim to impress players through raw power, but instead places them in a state of balance. Columbina's appearance here is not meant to redefine damage, but to signal that the focus has begun shifting towards systems themselves. The update does not overwhelm the player, it introduces new ideas and then leaves room for experimentation. Even the way characters are distributed across the two halves of the patch suggests that the goal is to stabilize the rhythm rather than raise the ceiling. Version 6.4 then arrives to change the perspective. Here, the discussion moves away from reactions and toward structure. Varka, as a narratively central character, does not appear designed to be an aggressive damage burst, but rather a symbol of presence, control, and authority. This update is not trying to generate hype, but to reaffirm the game's core foundation. The message seems clear: before adding more, what already exists must be strengthened. With 6.5, the pieces begin to move more visibly. Snegorotka does not appear as a final solution, but as a tool. This update does not sell a completed concept, it plants a seed. Introducing a cryo character built around consistency and interaction rather than direct damage reshapes how players think. At this point, the game begins asking an indirect question: what if the goal is not numbers, but system stability? That question is not answered immediately. Instead, it lingers into 6.6, where the same philosophy continues. Nicole, most commonly associated with this version, is understood as a support or enabler rather than a primary damage source. The choice of Pyro here is extremely important, because the issue was never its power, but its flexibility. As a result, it becomes clear that the entire sequence is focused on preparing a cohesive play environment, not just delivering strong characters. All of this leads logically to 6.7. Only here does the missing piece finally appear, the element that makes everything before it feel justified. Sandrone, once almost universally imagined as a heavy, field-controlling Geo character, is now being reinterpreted as an electro character centered around Superconduct. This shift does not feel strange when the path leading up to it is reviewed. Superconduct was never weak, it was neglected, simply because nothing had been designed to truly take advantage of it. If Sandrone can control this reaction, expand it, and scale it through factors like elemental mastery or resistance penetration, she becomes more than just a strong character, she becomes the key to an entire system. In that context, Snegorotka's role in 6.5 becomes clear in retrospect: she was never meant to compete, but to prepare the ground. At this stage, the nature of the questions players ask begins to change. The question is no longer who is stronger, but rather how does this system work? This shift in mindset does not happen by accident, it is the result of a long build-up stretching from 6.3 to 6.7. When this entire stretch is viewed as a single design arc, the sense of chaos disappears. Each update serves a specific function: balance, stabilization, enablement, and finally payoff. In this light, version 6.7 does not feel like a surprise, but a logical conclusion to a path that began long before it.